Good afternoon, everyone, and I want to welcome everybody for attending here today at this very important event. I also want to welcome MPP Mr. Dave Levesque in the audience here, and also MPP Frank Cleese Assistant Alex Roman for attending. And I want to also welcome Toronto's finest for also assisting in this very important event. Thank you, guys. Today is a very important event because as everybody knows here, Canada has a critical shortage when it comes to organ and tissue donations. I think most Canadians are pretty aware of it. And as a matter of fact, Canada has one of the lowest rates in the world, and every other day a child, man or woman, is dying on our waiting list. Well, today that's not going to happen. There's two ways of that people can donate their organs. And one of the ways is through cadaveric means. That means if somebody passes away, they have the ability to donate their organs. The other way is through a live organ donor. And there's three ways that you can donate your organs in that fashion. And one is by donating a piece of your lung. The other is by donating one of your kidneys. And the third way is by donating a piece of your liver. And the live liver donation was actually began in 2000. And with a lot of proudness, we'd like to boast that Toronto has one of the finest medical teams in the world when it comes to live liver donations. And we should be all very proud of that. Now, the sad part is that most of these donations are done through family members when there's a family that's in need of a liver transplant. And very seldom is there somebody outside the family that makes that incredible act of donating their liver. So today I'm happy to say that there is such a gentleman that's with us today, and his name is Mr. Clairmont Humphrey, and he's going to tell his story much better than I will. And I want to also add that following this event, that we're scheduled to bring the family in front of Sick Kids Hospital, and that'll probably be around 1:30, 1:35, where we're going to do a few photo ops with the lighting of the Torch of Life in front of Sick Kids Hospital at the front entrance before Mr. Clairmont Humphrey and the family goes up. So I want to introduce the other two guests here, and to my far right is Mr. Clairmont Humphrey, and in the middle is the grandmother of Jada Fairman, the 14-month baby that just received Clairmont's liver, and her name is Mrs. Lorraine Harding. So I'm going to start off by sending the tape over to Mr. Humphrey.
Well, as you heard, my name is Clairmont Humphrey. I'm the father of four children, age ranging from 24 to 9. My eldest being the girl, Clarendine, and my son, Kalantni, and then Claremont and Andy the second, and my youngest daughter, Brooklyn. I had a wonderful opportunity of having a very healthy family. Without any problems. They grew up, no problems at all. And I came across Jada's situation the end of July, beginning of September, and spoke to her mom. I knew her as Candy, but her name is Melissa, about what was going on. At that point, I really had no deep concept of what really supposed to be going on or what was going on with her. Needless to say, as I actually visited with Jada and her mom, and she was explaining to me the situation that she may actually need a transplant, it started sinking at that point. She said, the father tried, it didn't work out. The grandfather tried, it didn't work out. So I remember going back because I felt tugged in my heart that I think my God was talking to me and say, you need to step up to the plate and do the right thing. And I went back to her and I said, do you mind if I be a donor? And she said, it's not a problem. at the time, I did not know my blood type, so being a donor and saying I'm going to be a donor, you really can't know for real if you're going to be a donor, but I just knew I was going to be a donor somewhere along the line. I got tested. I proved that I was O positive, that's what she needed. From that point on, it was just doing all the blood work, all the different tests that needed to be done. And at the end of the day, they said, you are the donor. If you should ask me what made me do it, I would say God made me do it, because he told me about it. He gave me the opportunity. It's an honorable position to be in, to be able to say that I can represent a true belief that I believe in. I'm a Christian believer, and I believe that God has said that you can do this. So today I'm sitting here 8 days later. I feel healthy. I feel strong. Jade is doing really well as well. You know, if anybody is listening and is contemplating whether or not they should do this or not, and what's going to be the complication, as George said, we got one of the finest set of doctors in Toronto. They're doing a fantastic job. I had no doubts about them, so whenever they ask the question, aren't you scared? No, we got to find a bunch of people there that are working hard at this stuff. So for me, that part was fixed. The only part that needed to be fixed was Jada. And that was more important to me. And I promised her mom for Christmas, that's the gift of life she's going to get. And I delivered. And her mom may be able to tell you a little bit more of Jada's situation, and her grandmother, sorry, a little bit more of Jada's situation up until now, I think.
Okay.
And Jada was born on September 26th, 2007. Sorry, a beautiful baby girl. And when she was just a few days old, my daughter noticed that she was a bit jaundiced. And we thought it was like, you know, just the doctors would keep an eye on her and it would all go away. But later she was diagnosed as having biliary atresia, which is one in, I believe, every 15,000 kids in the world.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes, okay. And she needed a procedure to that would help her, like the bile flow, to flow properly. And that procedure was called the Kasai. So she was operated on in December of 2007 when she was only 11 weeks old. And that procedure worked up until March of 2008. And at that time, things were like going like down the hill for Jada. Her eyes started to look like yellow, and from yellow it had a more greenish look in it. And Jada desperately needed a liver transplant, because without this liver transplant, Jada would have eventually died. Her little stomach was so bloated and hard, and it was really hard to watch Jada. Jada is a pleasant little girl. She is so full of life, and she is feisty little girl. And I would like to thank God for birthing in Clairmont the desire to be this donor. And Clairmont, and I would say it's all God. And Clairmont, being a Christian as well, he spoke to God and asked God to use him. And he said yes to God's call. And so he didn't think about all the pain that he would go through, because with this surgery, you know, there was a possibility that he would not come through this okay. But he trusted God and the doctors who God was working through. So he didn't think about the pain. He didn't think about the big scar. He didn't think about anything, but he went ahead and he said, I'm going to do this. And right up until the minute he was ready to go in the operating room, you know, people tried to discourage him from doing this. A lot of people tried to ask him if he was mad, if he was crazy, and he said, no, I know my God is talking to me, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to give life to that little child who would not have lived if it was not for Clairmont Humphrey. After the surgery, they both had, I mean, after any major operation,